Hey guys, welcome to another LevelLogic video. Today I'm going to be going over how the suite consistently stacked confluence in the same way every single day last week to catch the high or low of New York session, which was also the high or low of the day. I'm not going to get too much into like nitty-gritty entry confirmations in this one, just because I don't want the video to go on forever. But yeah, we're going to go through each of these. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can see I've got SEIZ here on the daily, and that has perfectly captured these highs and lows of the day outside of the median there. Okay, so starting off with MERA, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through each indicator individually over each day to show you how they stack the confluences together in the same way. So all you really need to do is look for your entry model, your confirmation of a shift to get into these moves. So starting with MERA, here you can see that we've got the 1 hour, 4 hour and 12 hour, and we're aligned in extreme premium. Okay, so when that happens, the candles start to turn red or green if you're in extreme discount, and we start to get these early shift alerts when price starts to close below the highest candle. Okay, so this isn't a immediate short signal. This is just a early shift warning, because this is the first thing that has to happen for price to then start to break down. Next up, we have HIPA, which is our external range liquidity and internal range liquidity indicator. So what this has done here, you can see we've got this key time here, it's 10 a.m. And we have taken out some external range liquidity, and we have a bias towards downside internal range liquidity. So this signal area will only turn on when we've taken some external range and have a bias to the opposite side. Next up, we've got SEIZ. So this is currently on the daily. So you can see we're approaching, we're in the external high zones, signified by the red color. We're above the external median. We're even above the external 75th. And you can see in the dashboard here, it's starting to light up red because multiple time frames are all over their external highs and in a high percentile area, which means that they're not going to be going much further in their given interval. Okay, next up we have MORE, which is our open retest probability indicator. Works in a similar way to SEIZ, but what it also has is the probability of an open retest. So what often happens is, if you think about the high time frame candle, they will open up, they will sweep the previous high. So that is in itself our external range liquidity swept, and they will leave this open untested. And that gives us a good early target for a trade to either go break even quickly or as a early take profit. So you can see we've reached above the median there. And I haven't just chosen some random time frame. This is the 8-hour time frame. Okay, so you can see 66.1, 66.1. So the reason I've chosen that is just because it's one of the highest probabilities in the dashboard. So that's often what I do. If I get alerted to these things in the dashboard, then I just switch over to what the highest probability one is to see where we're at in the zones. Okay, and this is the result. So you can see I'm on the daily SEIZ again here, and you can use SEIZ as a targeting system as well, which I'll show you. So we've reached up above the daily 75th. We've got all our other confluences with the rest of the suite, and we've got our entry model. Then we've got sort of 65-point move down here and a 94-point move down over here. Now, because we had this massive impulse up, we have already tested internal zones on the daily for SEIZ. So it's unlikely that this is going to, by the end of the day, drop all the way back down to internal zones or external zones. However, we can look at the 4-hour to use SEIZ as a targeting mechanism as well. And don't forget, we also had MORE, which was our open retest target as well. So you can see here, the 4-hour has pushed up and it hasn't really tapped into this 25th internal zone yet. So it kind of has to do that because we know that 85% of the data goes below this. So it has to 85% of the time get to this zone and test it. So you can see that was a good target for that one. And then up into the retest, in the new 4 hour, we have retested perfectly on that internal median line there. And you can see then we can target the external zones, or you could have targeted the internal zones as a take profit one as well. But you can see there that's a good way to use SEIZ as a targeting system as well. Okay, moving on to Tuesday, let's stack all the confluences all over again. So starting again with MERA, you can see we're in extreme discount here. Candles have been colored green, and we've started to get some early shift alerts happening. Going across to HIPA, you can see again, we've taken some external range liquidity, and we have a bias to internal range liquidity signified by this green gradient showing up. On SEIZ, you can see this is the daily, and we have hit the daily medium external. So by default, if you're external to something, you've swept the previous candle. Okay, so you can also gather that you have taken some external range liquidity if you've gone external. But you can also see here in the dashboard, we have a whole number of time frames that are also external to their previous candle and at a high percentile low. So that's a really good sign that they're not going to be going much further in their given interval. So then we've got more, where we have an open line to be retested. Now, unfortunately with this one, it didn't dive very deep because we'd already done this big dive here. So the new interval actually just very quickly swept the next interval and quickly went up to retest this. But you can see it still gave you this early warning that we are likely to go bouncing up, but we didn't quite get into some of the higher percentile extensions here before the retest. So if that doesn't happen, the table will show you, but it doesn't actually light up for you. Okay, and then we've got the result. So you can see they're really nice bounce off the daily median, and we've got nearly 150 points there that you could have capitalized on. If we look at the 4 hour, so again, this is similar to the day before, where we had this. The day before we had this big impulse up, and we're not going to go all the way back and retrace that whole impulse in the day. So this is the same thing. We had a big impulse down. It's unlikely we're going to retrace this whole impulse. So targeting things internally to this is a good idea. So if we look at the 4 hour, you can see that you can target these internal median zones, or you could have tried to target external if you wanted to leave some runners as well. But you can see nice easy target there to target the 50th and 75th zone. Okay, next we've got Wednesday. So let's do it all over again. You're going to get pretty bored of me saying the same thing over and over every day for this. But here we have MERA again. You can see extreme discount, colored candles, starting to get our early shifts. HIPA, we've got external taken again, and we've got a bias towards internal range liquidity signified by this green gradient area. SEIZ daily, we're in internal to the previous day, and we've really nicely tapped the median there. We've also got a number of time frames over here that we can see in the dash that are external, so these are the green ones. So the lower time frames are reaching into their external, so sweeping the previous candle, whilst the daily is retesting internally to its previous candle. Okay. Then on more, we had a really nice open to retest that was quite some distance away, which are the ones I really like. So you can see we've perfectly tapped the median there for the 12-hour extension. The 12-hour open retest is the only thing we've got to look at in the table, so that's the one we can change it to. You can see there's 60% chance of that being retested. Then we look at the result, 271 points available there for you to get, or a portion of, and you can see we can target the daily externals, or we can target 4 hour or a time frame you're choosing. You can target internal percentiles or the external percentiles. You can see if we targeted the external percentile here, we eventually tap it before the end of the day. Okay, Thursday, low of day and low of New York session. Again, by the way, all of these have happened at a key time as well. So we're all around the 10 a.m. mark. I think one was just before 10 a.m., but most of them have been the 10 a.m. open, which has kicked off the move. So here we've got MERA again. We're in extreme discount. Candles are colored green again. We're starting to get early reversal signals. HIPA, again, we've taken external liquidity. We have a bias to internal liquidity above. And so we've got that green gradient happening again. SEIZ, like the Wednesday one, we're internal to the previous day. Okay, so we're trending up internally on the daily. So we've nicely tapped the median there on the internal, but the external, you can see we've lit up green on a whole number of timeframes here that have gone above their external median, which is a really, really good sign. So we're sweeping candles of a lower time frame than the daily, whilst the daily is retesting its internal candle. Okay. Then we have more, another really nice one with some distance to it. So this was the 8 hour, I believe. Hang on a second. Yeah, the 8 hour. So 68.9% chance of retesting this, and we've dipped into the median extension there. So really nice sort of distance there to get either a take profit there or going break even. And then we can see the result. We've got 126 points up to the daily external 25th. Or we could have used 4 hour, where we target some 4 hour percentile zones as well. Okay, last one. So again, happening around some key times, 9:30, 10 o'clock. So here we've got MERA again, showing you that we're in a extreme discount on the 1, 4, and 12 hour, coloring the candles green for alignment and showing some early shift reversal signals. HIPA, we have a whole stack of internal range liquidity with some nice end of day probabilities and some reasonable dynamic probabilities as well. So what the dynamic means, just for people that haven't seen the HIPA video, is these are showing dynamically at this point in time what is the probability that these will hit by the end of the day, whereas the end of day is showing typically if these levels are left open, what is the probability over the whole day that they actually get hit by end of day. So we can also see here that we've taken some external range liquidity as well, signified by the green gradient again. So we've got a bias to internal range liquidity. Okay, daily, we're still trending up as per the previous days. So we've tapped internally into the median and the 75th level here, getting into the 75th to 85th zone. And once again, you can see in the dash here, we have lit up green on several timeframes, getting into their external lows over their medians, and some getting up even higher. Okay, more, another really good one on more. So we only had one option here, the 8 hour, so we can flip over to that, and you can see we've got an 82% chance of this being retested, and we've really nicely extended into the 85th percentile zone. So if this is going to get retested, then there's actually only a 15% chance that this is going to go much lower than this now. Okay, and here is the Friday result. You can see really nice retest of that daily median, and we went up to external daily median. So that could have been a great final target. It's 145 points there, but obviously you had that 8 hour retest, which you could have taken profit on, and you could have also used the 4 hour. So coming into internal, some easy internal range percentile zones, which are likely to get hit, or targeting external range zones as well for some nice continuation. Going back to the weekly view, you can see it was a really nice week. There was a number of other trades where we also stacked confluence. So I actually traded London a lot this week, and so caught some stuff in here and in here and in here, catching some moves down. So you can see all that in the Discord. I go over and review my trades and the confluences that stacked up, and they were exactly the same thing that happened at all these times that we just went through. Okay, so I just wanted to focus today on New York session, as I know most of you trade New York session, and you can see how it perfectly captures high of session, low of session, which can lead to high of day, low of day trades. So if you're interested in checking out the indicators, head on over to LevelLogicIndicators.com. We've also got a Discord as part of the subscription as well now, so I'm in there answering as many questions and providing support where possible. And I'm also doing breakdowns, daily reviews, trade reviews, so you can see how the indicators are stacking up their confluence to give you high probability setups. So yeah, come and check it out and hope to see you in there. Thanks, guys.